Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, a show celebrating and questioning one of the most beloved entertainment companies in the world through honest, passionate, and clear-eyed Disney discussions. I'm Jeff DePauli, your entertainment-obsessed host with rose-colored glasses removed. Today in the show, we have the House of Mouse headlines brought to you by laughingplace.com, your up-to-date resource for the latest Disney news every day of the week. This episode is being released on June 15th, 2022, and here's what's been going on in the world of Disney recently. Major panel announcements for this year's D23 Expo, executive shakeups within the Walt Disney Company, the impending return of Minnie Vans to Walt Disney World, and more.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
After nearly 3 months of closure, parts of the Shanghai Disney Resort have reopened to the public. As of June 10th, Wishing Star Park, the World of Disney Store, and Blue Sky Boulevard are once again available. However, Shanghai Disneyland, the resort's 2 hotels, and other parts of Disneytown remain closed with no reopening dates currently announced. The Shanghai Disney Resort began another temporary closure in March of this year following a spike in local COVID cases, with the city of Shanghai undergoing one of the strictest lockdowns in the world. The latest operating hours for these reopened venues can be found on shanghaidisneyresort.com. Earlier this year, it was announced that in addition to soon getting a Pixar theme, Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel would be regaining a walkway and entrance to Disney California Adventure. That walkway is now open, allowing hotel guests to enter the park between Seaside Souvenirs and Corndog Castle. As for that Pixar transformation, while it looks as though work is slowly getting underway, no timeline has been announced just yet. As the new MCU series Ms. Marvel premiered on Disney+, the hero herself arrived at Avengers Campus. Ms. Marvel can now be found greeting guests at Disney California Adventure. Incidentally, Khan's superhero costume debuted in the park before we saw her wear it on the TV show, which is a bit of a departure from past character additions. Of course, if you're not on campus, you can still catch Ms. Marvel on Disney+, with new episodes dropping on Wednesdays. Lord Vader has returned, and he is most displeased with your apparent lack of progress. Well, at least half of that is true, as Darth Vader is once again appearing in Tomorrowland at Disneyland. This reemergent ties in with Vader's appearance in the Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi. Disney does warn that the meet and greet will be available for a, quote, limited time, but no end date has been announced. Another option for traversing Walt Disney World is about to make a comeback. Disney has announced that the Minnie Vans service would be returning June 29th. However, ahead of that date, some guests may see Minnie Vans as a booking option in the Lyft app as part of the service's re-rollout. Although the point-to-point service for Walt Disney World will once again be available, at this time, the Minnie Van airport service will remain unavailable. For more info, be sure to visit the Walt Disney World Minnie Vans site. A new dining location is heading to Disney Springs next year. Summerhouse Santa Monica, a popular restaurant in Chicago and Bethesda, has announced that an offshoot called Summerhouse on the Lake will debut at Walt Disney World in 2023. The California-inspired menu, led by Chef Ben Goodnick, features simple ingredients sourced from local grower partnerships and sustainable products. Although not confirmed, it is believed that the new location will go into the space that Beatrix was previously announced for. With few details at this time, we're sure to hear more about Summerhouse on the Lake in the coming months. After 22 years, Joe Quesada has announced that he will be leaving Marvel. Quesada joined the company in August 2000 as a comic artist before being named Chief Creative Officer of Marvel Entertainment in 2010, with his position being renamed to Executive Vice President and Creative Director in 2019. In his statement, Quesada did note that while he'll be leaving his role, quote, "This doesn't mean you're getting rid of me that easily," as he will still contribute to Marvel occasionally, including something he's thrilled about for later this year. D23 is treating its gold members to the latest Disney blockbusters this summer, with every member getting 1 complimentary movie ticket. To take advantage of this offer, be sure to check your inbox or the D23 site for instructions on how to submit. Eligible members will then receive a Fandango promotional code good for up to $15 in value. With Lightyear, Thor: Love and Thunder, and other Disney releases headed to theaters, the only question is, which movie will you see? Superfans who can't wait until June 17th to see Pixar's Lightyear can get an advanced screening by taking in the Andy Experience. Named after the character who is excited to get his hands on a Buzz Lightyear action figure in the original Toy Story back in 1995, the Lightyear Early Access screening, The Andy Experience, will invite fans to see the film on June 15th in select IMAX and premium large format theaters. Plus, attendees will receive an exclusive piece of concept art created by the film's production designer at Pixar Animation Studios. For more information or to book tickets for Lightyear The Andy Experience, be sure to check out Fandango or other ticket websites. Pixar fans may want to make a stop at their neighborhood McDonald's soon, as Lightyear Happy Meal toys are now available. Among the toys featured in this collection are Izzy Hawthorne, Mo Morrison, Zurg, Socks, and of course Buzz Lightyear. So if you're keeping score, this is a toy version of the, quote, real astronaut that inspired the toy, but one that's different from that toy. Logical headaches aside, you can find Lightyear Happy Meal toys at participating McDonald's locations for a limited time. The reach of Disney Plus continues to spread around the world. Recently, the streaming service debuted in 16 new markets across the Middle East and North Africa. Among the countries where Disney Plus is now available are Algeria, Egypt, Iraq, Libya, Morocco, Palestine, Saudi Arabia, and many more. Each of these markets has its own pricing, with monthly and annual subscriptions available. Next up, Disney Plus plans to arrive in a number of Eastern European countries as well as Israel. A fan favorite, adorable hero is coming to Disney Plus this summer. Marvel Studios' series of shorts titled I Am Groot will be arriving on the platform August 10th. These shorts will feature the Seedling, along with several new and unusual characters. The animated series is the first of 2 Guardians of the Galaxy-related projects that streaming fans can look forward to in the near future, with James Gunn's The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special set to hit the streamer later this year. And for even more Groot fun, in the meantime, you can catch the character in Thor: Love and Thunder, opening July 8th. Last year, to mark the streaming service's 2-year anniversary, Disney Plus Day was held on November 12th, with a Disney Plus-iversary celebration taking place the year before. However, while many might have assumed that future Disney Plus Days would continue to take place on this November date, it seems the streaming holiday is reschedulable. This revelation comes as Disney has declared that the next Disney Plus Day will arrive on September 8th, with this date chosen thanks to its proximity to the 2022 D23 Expo. The first piece of Disney Plus Day content has already been announced, as the new live-action Pinocchio will debut on that day. Meanwhile, the service promises reveals from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic in the coming months. So get ready for an early Disney Plus Day this September. And now it's time to bring in Kyle Burbank from laughingplace.com. How's it going, Kyle?
It's going well, Jeff. How about you?
Pretty good. Shall we just jump into the news?
Let's do it.
Because we got some major announcements from the D23 Expo, and they've started to announce some of the panels that we'll see, and they say that Disney 100 kicks off at D23 Expo on Friday, September 9th at 10:30 a.m. with an epic presentation that includes the Disney Legends Award ceremony. Right there, I got a question. This is the first I'm hearing of Disney 100. Is this a known thing?
Maybe not the name, but one of the first things they announced was that this expo was going to be previewing the 100th celebration of the Walt Disney Company in 2023.
Yeah, I got that, but it's interesting because they're saying Disney 100 kicks off, and it says it includes the Disney Legends Award ceremony. So it
sounds like what they did the first year, where there was the keynote. They might have done it other years. I kind of forget at this point, but they did the keynote and the Legends ceremony. It was all part of like one thing.
In the last couple of years, I feel like it's been just the Legend ceremony, and frankly, I skipped it last time. But now, like, there's going to be other stuff. It's like maybe you need to show up. I don't know. That'll be interesting. But I found that to be interesting. And, of course, this will feature Disney CEO Bob Chapek. That's if he doesn't do anything stupid soon before, where he cancels his appearance because of, not being popular. But in any case, the Disney Legends ceremony will once again honor those visionaries and artists who have made significant contributions to the Disney legacy. Look for the names of the 2022 inductees to be announced in the coming weeks. Putting you on the spot, is there like any person you would love to see become a Disney legend this time around?
I'm sure there's a list somewhere.
Just first one that comes in your mind. Who is it? Go.
I don't know. I don't even know who is a Disney legend. I feel like I'm going to screw it up and say someone who already is. Tom Hanks, because he still isn't, and Tim Allen is.
That's true. Tom Hanks, because he couldn't show up, essentially. But having said that, Bette Midler didn't show up, and she still got her award. But yeah, Tom Hanks is a good one. I know they don't do CEOs, but I honestly would really love to see Michael Eisner get one. I think that if you've been out of the position for a certain number of years and still have like a lasting legacy on the company, I feel like you should be considered. Michael Eisner, man. Let's make it happen. Anywho, that's going to be the beginning of the expo. Then at 3:30 p.m., guests will be treated to new details, first looks, sneak peeks, surprises, and announcements regarding upcoming theatrical and Disney Plus titles from Disney Live Action, Pixar Animation Studios, and Walt Disney Animation Studios. Studio heads, filmmakers, and cast members will come together on stage with the inside scoop on some of these studios' most exciting titles. Now, this is kind of interesting. Once again, a new strategy, like the big thing last time, at least one of the most exciting things for me was the Disney Plus panel because Disney Plus was launching, but now they've kind of mixed it in with animation, which used to be its own thing. So they're kind of like merging things together.
I feel like they've always kind of evolved it. They've put things together, separated them out, and repackaged them in different medium. And it's different, but I don't think it's necessarily like game changing.
No, it's actually kind of good because I remember in earlier years, you used to kind of have to line up for these things individually. And it was just that stress of, will I get into each one? So to me, it makes sense. And frankly, like that's not the most exciting panel for me. So yeah, I think it's good that it's merged together. And this next thing I think is smart as well. Starting on Saturday, September 10th, filmmakers, celebrity talent, and surprise guests will join representatives from Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm, among others, on stage in Hall D23. This makes sense. Putting Marvel and Lucasfilm, I feel like, although different, also similar fan bases, right?
Yeah, this is like Comic-Con Junior.
Comic-Con, that's what they should call it. Welcome to Comic-Con Junior at 10 a.m. at D23 Expo. There we go. Of course, there'll be exclusive footage and, announcements and stuff, so that'll be good. This next one is interesting to me, although, let's see, at 3:30 p.m., Disney-branded television, home to some of the most iconic stories and characters in the Disney canon, including Peabody Award winners Doc McStuffins and The Owl House, plus the culture-defining movie franchises High School Musical and Descendants, will present an exclusive showcase of upcoming content that will continue the legacy of excellence in storytelling. The showcase will feature talent appearances and never-before-seen sneak previews of original content for Disney Plus, Disney Channel, and Disney Junior, including looks at the new Disney Plus original series National Treasure, American-Born Chinese, and The Santa Claus. So I'm a little confused by this, to be honest. Now, it doesn't say which space it's going to be in. I kind of assumed it was going to be in Hall D23, but then I was like, would that many people show up for like a Disney Junior? It feels like the Junior version.
It's not Disney Junior.
It's not, but it's like Disney Channel, Disney Plus, and Disney Junior. So I don't know.
Disney Plus is you're thinking too narrowly about what Disney branded television is these days.
I guess so, but
because like that list you read off at the end there, like the Santa Claus and National Treasure and stuff.
So I guess the question there is, why is certain Disney Plus stuff being presented there while other Disney Plus titles are being presented on the Friday?
Because Disney branded television is the ones producing them?
Oh, okay. I don't know how I feel about that. So the Friday one is just features, and so the Saturday one will be like the episodic stuff on Disney Plus.
The ones that are Disney label, yeah.
Okay. That's a little weird to me. I don't know.
It is a little weird. It reflects what the structure of the company is, but I don't think a lot of people know what the company and the structure. And honestly, like if you were to ask me, I wouldn't have known about it. But as you're saying it, I'm like, okay, no, I get it. But if you would have said, how would you break these things up? I never would have necessarily thought of this because, like you said, at the first, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting that they're still doing Disney Junior and Disney Channel. Maybe that makes sense for people bringing kids, but I don't know how popular that's going to be. But then it's like, oh no, it's wider than that.
Yeah, putting like Doc McStuffins in the same presentation as National Treasure just seems like the Disney brand is muddled quite a bit. Is kind of what it feels like. I don't know. I'll be curious to see where they hold that presentation.
It's interesting you say that, though, because it's like, yeah, it seems a little bit muddled, but at the same time, it's also like, it's the family-friendly brand that you expect from Disney beyond the Marvel and the Star Wars. So that part kind of, it's an animation, feature animation.
I don't think of National Treasure, though, as like the same audience as Doc McStuffins.
The movies were PG. No, not the same audience, but they're still family-friendly, just different families with different kids of different ages.
I'll tell you what, of these major panels, this is the first one I would be like, yeah, I'll skip that. I mean, the Santa Claus does interest me. And frankly, if there was going to be any... No, it wouldn't be here. I was going to say, if there's going to be any news about Shrunk, it might be here, but that would be in the features one. So, I don't know. Interesting. So that's happening. And then on Sunday, September 11th, we have Disney Parks experiences and products. I know that this is always the one that I'm most interested in. With Chairman Josh D'Amaro, he's going to take a look at Disney's Boundless future. This should be really interesting because we don't know what the future of the parks is, other than like Epcot finishing construction, Tron hopefully opening someday. Like beyond that, we don't know a ton. So I'm very curious to see what's going to be announced.
Well, it'd also be interesting to see how many of the things that get announced get canceled, because I have a running list of things that get announced at Expo that never see the light of day. So,
oh man, we need to go through that sometime. Do you actually have a list?
I literally have a list. Some examples, small things like the Muppet Whatnot factory coming to Disney parks. There's that thing on Main Street.
Keep it. I think we might do an episode on this. Okay. I like this. This is great. I love that you keep this list. That's fantastic. And depressing, but everything has a reason for not happening. Unfortunately, most of the time it's budget, which is an annoying reason, but that's really interesting. So I'm super interested. Of course, it says announcements and updates on the magic happening around the world in parks. So they have a ton of properties. There could just be a lot of news about stuff not happening in the States, and it, isn't that exciting. It could just be, we're making updates to, Galactic Star Cruiser. I'll be curious to hear if we get any updates on Spaceship Earth and or the Mary Poppins attraction. But even still, as exciting as those updates would be, it's like, we've heard this before. I'm ready and hoping for the thing that's like, oh my God, came out of nowhere. And I don't know if we'll get it, but we'll find out in a few months.
Well, we're still holding out for that Tomorrowland redo.
That's right. Honestly, that would be a great announcement. Or a Carousel of Progress update would be really wonderful. That would be great as well. So, okay. Then that evening, Disney Concerts will present a special performance of Disney Princess, the Concert. Now, I've talked about this on this show before. This is a show that's been touring around with some, past Disney princesses like Susan Egan, who originated the role of Belle in Beauty and the Beast on Broadway, and Meg in Disney's animated feature Hercules, Isabella McCalla, who was Princess Jasmine in Aladdin on Broadway, I believe, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I believe so. And Disney Channel star Annalise Vanderpool and Sydney Winters, who was Broadway's Nala in The Lion King. So this is a show that tours around. Usually Disney on Broadway has some sort of performance or presentation at the expo. It sounds like this is kind of taking its place. And I do know some friends, our buddies Aaron and Ruben, I believe we're going to see it on the tour, and it got canceled because of COVID. And so they were super bummed. So maybe this will be their chance to see it. I don't know. But I don't know. It personally doesn't excite me that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shoo-in. I wouldn't be surprised if Dee Capella is the ones opening the show. It's just one of those synergy things where you're like, yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we'll see. Cool. Anyway, that's kind of the expo updates we got for now. Those are the big panels. Of course, there's tons of smaller panels that will be announced later. I'm sure they're still figuring out schedules and where it's going to be located, and probably even trying to figure out some, presentations at this point. But it's going to be here before we know it. So
it's already a lot closer than I want to believe.
Yeah, cool. Let's move on to this video that went viral at Disneyland Paris as a cast member interrupted a marriage proposal. My guess is everybody's seen it at this point. If not, I'll try and find a video and stick it in the show notes. But basically, a man proposing to his girlfriend was on a stage in front of the castle, And he claims that he got permission to do it. I don't know if that's been proven or not or what, but a cast member saw that, guests were in a space they shouldn't have been, ran up on the stage, grabbed the ring, removed it from the stage, and basically said, make the proposal down here where it's okay for you to be. And oh my gosh, the internet went crazy over this.
Yeah, it was a big story, like national news, international news. I've seen it in so many places that I wasn't expecting, and like highly ranked on the CNN website and things like that. So that was a bit of a surprise. And I know, both of us watched Philip DeFranco. That was a big conversation on that show too. So a little weird when our worlds collide.
I just watched Phil right before we started this. I love that man. I actually had a dream the other night. True story. I had a dream that I met him in real life. And there have been moments where I thought I've seen him in real life and it wasn't him, but I don't get starstruck. I see a lot of stars. I don't care. Can I tell you, the time that I thought it was him, I fangirled for a second in my heart. And then I was like, oh, wait, it's not him. But God, I love that man. If you don't know who I'm talking about, Phil DeFranco is the only YouTuber I care anything about. He does news 4 days a week on YouTube, and he's the greatest. I love him.
I'm surprised you haven't run into him yet, honestly. It seems like it'll happen.
I know. I keep thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I've honestly thought through the whole thing. I'm like, if he's with his kids, I'm not going to bother him because I know he doesn't like that. But if he's alone, I'm totally just going to be like, dude, I love you. And I love him. And by the way, new drop available. So
you're plugging other people's merch. This is fantastic.
I'm plugging Phil DeFranco's new drop. Anywho, wow, that was the most tangent of tangents on this show, but I'm keeping it in there. So what did you think of this whole proposal situation? Because I had some immediate thoughts when I saw it.
I didn't quite know what to think. Obviously the tact of the cast member was lacking. Mm-hmm. Definitely could have gone it better. My first question was, I wonder how close it was to the show starting. Was it really that much of an issue? Because, you talk about the 4 keys. So I wonder whether this rose to a safety level, because that would be something more immediate. And I don't think it probably did. So then you think of the other ones and it probably, moves down a few pegs. So basically, I understand the instinct a little bit, but I don't think it was the right approach. And I do think that the fact that it was in Europe and not here also plays into it. Things are a little different over in Disneyland Paris.
I do think the only way that the guest is not in the wrong, and by the way, I think the cast member did wrong things as well, but the only way I think the guest is not in the wrong is if he did genuinely get permission, in which case there was, communication problems, and the cast member that he asked, I guess, wasn't there. I don't know. But if that's true, I guess that's a bit of a pass, but do not go into areas you're not supposed to go into. As far as the safety thing, the one thing I've seen people quoting, or not quoting, but suggesting, and I don't think this was the case, but they gave the example of, well, there could have been explosives in that platform for, a fireworks show later that night. And yeah, it could have been, probably not.
There is pyro on those, the stage that I think it is. I think there actually is pyro around it, but not huge pyro, and not one, it would be little sparkle things that come out.
Okay. I think the biggest thing that the cast member did wrong was by taking the ring. It wasn't he didn't go up and was like, you got to move. It was he grabbed the ring out of their hands, which I'm sure is a major faux pas in the Disney cast member way of handling things. I don't think you're supposed to test or touch guests anything, I would assume. So, I think that they were both wrong, but yeah, it's interesting. Disney did make an official statement, which makes you realize how big this actually was. They said, "We regret how this was handled. We've apologized to the couple involved and offered to make it right." I want to know what that means. Are these folks getting a free Disney wedding?
I don't know if they're getting a free Disney wedding, but I'm sure they got some scratch.
Yeah. For the record, if my future husband is listening to this podcast, do not propose to me in public or a Disney park. That's not the way I want it done. Please. No. I hate public proposals, but I have a black heart, I guess. But yeah, whenever I see them at Disneyland, I just roll my eyes at this point. Anywho. Let's move on. So, Peter Rice, chairman of general entertainment content at Disney, has reportedly been fired by the company. Rice came to Disney when the company acquired assets from 21st Century Fox. Now, Disney has officially named Dana Walton chairman of Disney General Entertainment Content. This was kind of out of nowhere, I guess. The big red flag here is this is a guy who has reportedly been next in line, perhaps, to be CEO of the Walt Disney Company.
When he came over, it was a name that he was being floated as a potential CEO when Iger left. So then that name's just kind of stuck around with Chapek's troubles. And, people think that there's a lot of damning journalism coming out about maybe that people talking a little too much about Peter potentially being a good replacement, and that might have been a factor. And even reports saying that like his meeting with Chapek was very short, of him being like, "Hey, we don't think you fit the culture," and him being like what? And Chapek's like, "Let's not talk about that now. Bye." So
yeah, apparently he said, "What did I do wrong?" And there was like no real explanation. So I mean, this is clearly a petty move by Bob Chapek trying to secure his job. Like I don't think that there's any other, reason.
Well, I mean, in slight defense, if we don't know how much Peter was actually like politicking in the system. So I kind of understand, like, if not just like we like Peter, we think he'd be a good person, but if he's like trying to undermine him, then you have a little bit more ammo. But obviously it's a bad look all around, because apparently like Peter Rice was very well liked in the entire entertainment industry, and that this was a huge shakeup. Like people, you look at the trades, they had just like the paragraph of that he'd been fired, and words like bombshell or like earthquake or something were all in the headlines.
It's crazy, man. Now, the more disturbing part here is the quote from the Walt Disney Company board. The chairwoman of the board, Susan E. Arnold, offered a statement of support for Chapek, telling the Times, "The strength of the Walt Disney Company's businesses coming up out of the pandemic is a testament to Bob's leadership and vision for the company's future. In this important time of business growth and transformation, we are committed to keeping Disney on the successful path it is on today, and Bob and his leadership team have the support and confidence of the board." I don't think it's any secret that I'm counting down until February of 2023 when his contract ends. But a quote like this really concerns me that they're going to extend his contract. And if that is what happens, I got to say, the board is full of a bunch of morons. Like, if they don't see that aside from financials, the Walt Disney Company currently has the worst appeal and is more off-brand than any ever before, they're idiots. And if they do see that and they're okay with it, they're idiots. So, like, I'm pissed at this point, got to be honest.
Well, I mean, what's interesting is there's so many different readings of that. Like, some people take it at face value and be like, "Oh, I guess they're good with it either way." But other ones are like, "Yeah, you know how the GM says that the coach is doing great and then fires him a month later?" It kind of reeks of that a little bit too. So
yeah, that's a sports reference, right? I don't get that reference. I read that as well, and I was like, what does this mean? Why do people in sports do that?
They do. And I mean, well, I think just a few months ago, they're like, "Oh, no, you're not going to get it. I don't know why I'm going to bother." But there was a quarterback. They're like, "Oh, he's off the table. No way we're trading him." And then 2 weeks later, they traded him.
Well, let's hope that's what they're doing, because honestly, that has me concerned. And like, frankly, if he's going to be replaced, like, a decision needs to be made soon. They can't wait till December to make that announcement. Like, they need to have a replacement. So I don't know. But apparently Peter Rice is available because he's unemployed at the moment. So, maybe keep that in their back pocket.
Well, I forget who's the executive that went to TikTok for a minute and then left.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
He has a media company with Tom Staggs. I see them in the news all the time acquiring different things. So, maybe Peter will meet up with them.
And then Joe Rohde should hop over there as well. Just get all the good Disney people in one place.
Well, they're not sending people into space as far as I know. So.
Yeah. Not yet. Anywho, let's move on because my favorite time of year is coming to Disneyland. Halloween time is set to return to the Disneyland Resort and will cast its eerie spell September 2nd through October 31st. I know that this makes a lot of folks attending D23 Expo very happy to know that they're going to get to celebrate Halloween there. So, Oogie Boogie Bash, there's obviously a bunch of news. All the stuff's returning. The decorations are returning, the Halloween fireworks, all of the great stuff that comes with Halloween in the Disneyland Resort. But Oogie Boogie Bash, a Disney Halloween party, will be offered as a separate ticket event at Disney California Adventure Park on 23 select nights starting September 6th through October 31st. And new this year, members of D23, the official Disney fan club, may purchase tickets to their own Oogie Boogie Bash night on September 10th during D23 Expo. I mean, this is cool. I'm glad that people are going to get to do this who are coming from out of town. The thing that's crazy is the price ranges between $129 to $179. And of course, the more expensive nights are typically the closer you get to Halloween. Except for that D23 night. They're charging $179 for that one night in early September, and the only other two dates that have that cost are Saturday, October 29th, so the Saturday before Halloween, and Halloween night itself, Monday, October 31st. I mean, I get it, right? Like, these are the people that are going to pay it, but God, what a crappy move.
I guess the other option is that they still charge that much, but don't limit it to D23 members. It's basically like it's going to sell out anyway. Even if they made it even higher, I would consider going because that's still, I guess that's at this point more than a park hopper ticket for a day. But you know, I'd considered going, but I don't know, $179 for a person.
Here's what I would say: if you've never done Oogie Boogie Bash, even if you've done Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party at Walt Disney World, it's totally worth checking out. It's a really unique party. It's really well done. I mean, Villains Grove is something you won't find anywhere else, and I'm obsessed with it. I don't know if I'll necessarily go. If I do, it probably wouldn't be the D23 night because it just doesn't make sense for me. I live locally and can go any other time. The only thing that even makes me want to go at all this year, because it doesn't change too much from year to year, is if they did something special for Hocus Pocus 2, I would be intrigued. So we'll see. I don't know. But I think it's good news for D23 Expo guests. I think it's crappy that they're, charging extra for it and just making it exclusive because they can. I don't think there's going to be anything else added other than, it's a D23 night. So
it's going to be exhausting too. People that are going to the expo and then staying out late to go to that and then getting up again the next morning.
That was also a thought I had. I was like, I don't want to pull a late night during an expo thing. So I don't know, but I'm sure it'll do pretty well. But in any
especially
case,
if people want to go. I mean, I haven't ever done this, but I know over the past few years, the lines for the big panels the next day start like overnight, just chilling in that basement area. So people are probably going to go straight from this to go in line to get to the parks panel the next morning.
I'm going to assume like the whole stage pass and lottery system is coming back. And I know that doesn't prevent anybody from sleeping overnight, but hopefully they have some system in place, because I do know, like, working in the convention world, nobody wants to see that. It's not like some sense of pride for the convention, the people throwing the convention, be like, haha, we got people lining up overnight. No, it sucks. Like, they recognize that it sucks for the guest. It sucks for people putting on the convention. Like, it's a safety concern. You get a higher security, stuff like that. So nobody wants that. It's just, demand is demand.
Yeah.
Anywho, folks, if you are thinking about attending the Oogie Boogie Bash, take it from me and make sure you wear something comfortable as your costume. An uncomfortable costume can ruin the night for yourself. I have my go-tos like my Newsies outfit and my Blockbuster Video uniform, which are both very comfy. But if you don't have any comfy costumes on hand, might I suggest checking out Who's It's and What's It's. Ooh, how'd you like that segue, Kyle?
I was going to say, that was I could tell an ad read was coming, but I was like, ooh, this is fantastic.
Now, Who's It's and What's It's creates magically inspired apparel with deep cut references to Disney content. If you're a fan of Mary Poppins, their jolly holiday button-up shirt could help you get into character for the party while still staying comfortable. Or if you're just looking for some real-world clothes featuring all things spooky, check out their Maleficent-inspired shirts, as well as their Hocus Pocus-inspired Black Flame candle Candle t-shirt. There's a lot to choose from, and DCTC listeners save 15% off of their entire order. So simply visit the Who's It's and What's It's link in this episode's description and use code DCTC when checking out to save 15%. Now, let's move on to a story that I find really fascinating. So Disney is set to release their upcoming new animated film Strange World this Thanksgiving. However, in France, that release will be direct to Disney Plus to get around the country's strict streaming video on demand regulations. Currently, any film that Disney releases into theaters in France must wait 17 months after their debut in cinemas to go to Disney Plus, and for a period of just 5 months. At 22 months, they come off the service and go to free-to-air channels for a 14-month exclusive window before reverting to Disney Plus again after 36 months. These are some crazy laws.
Yeah, the fact that they are laws and not just like industry guidelines alone is already kind of weird.
Yeah, so by releasing Strange World directly to Disney Plus, the film will be immediately available on the streaming service and will not have to abide by the chronology regulated under a theatrical release. Disney spokesperson said in a statement earlier, Strange World will be available to all Disney Plus subscribers in France, foregoing a French cinematic release. While we support French cinema and have for decades, the new cumbersome media chronology is anti-consumer, ignoring how behavior has evolved over the last several years, and puts us at increased risk for piracy. We will continue to make decisions on a film-by-film basis and according to each market's unique conditions. I gotta tell you, I wouldn't even consider a film-by-film basis. I would make this the new rule for France, because my gosh.
It sounds like it kind of has to be, right? Like, that's kind of crazy to me.
That's an intense law, and I would 100% agree with Disney on this. I'm like, yes, this is the correct workaround. My fear is that there's gonna, just be a new law put in place saying you can't do that, but I don't know how they could even do that. But yeah, I mean... And I am not someone who is, I do recognize that the industry and guest satisfaction is leaning more toward, releasing a movie in theaters and having it stream either the same day or a week later or whatever. I don't even love that personally, but I recognize that's where the industry is headed. I would prefer some sort of happy medium. But gosh, if I had to choose between release immediately or wait, 17 months or whatever, I would go with
17 months. And then lose it. Yeah. Lose the rights to your own film.
That's insane to me. This is almost like a fake article, it feels like. I can't believe that this is real.
Well, see, I have to say, the thing that surprised me most about it, besides all the craziness in France, was that it implies that they're going to release it in theaters here, which I combed through their press release when they announced it, or when they released that last trailer, and they never mentioned theaters anywhere. I kind of assumed that it would be, but they... really hedging these days and not mentioning it until like the last minute.
Well, what's really interesting to me is like, as I was reading this story, I was like, what is this movie? I was like, have I talked about this yet? Because this one is not memorable to me, as far as like, just a trailer or anything.
They just released the trailer. It would have been, in this news roundup if the release of trailers in an audio medium was interesting. So this is the way we could talk about it. There's a new trailer for Strange World. You can go watch it right now on YouTube.
Excellent. So yeah, check that out. And if you're in France, get ready to see it at your home streaming while the rest of us go to movie theaters and get some movie theater popcorn. By the way, quick movie theater story for you, because this kind of infuriated me. Has nothing to do with Disney. Went to see the new Jurassic World film, the, quote, final Jurassic film. We'll see. It ends in a way where there could totally be more in another decade. But in any case, of course, they sell like specialty popcorn buckets and stuff. And the bars at AMC theaters were promoting this alcoholic drink called the T-Rex. It was like an alcoholic iced tea. I don't drink alcohol, but I was like, I'm going to get this drink because the ads had it in this beautiful Jurassic glass. And I was like, I just want the glass. I am getting this thing. Go to the bar. I'm like, where's the T-Rex glass? They're like, oh, it just comes in this plastic cup. I was like, what? And it, like, no T-Rex on the cup or anything. It was just a clear plastic cup. It was the most misleading advertising I've ever seen. Of course, I had to write AMC and let them know. But I was like, I would have paid you $20 for this drink that I wouldn't have drunk if you had just like given the promised product. I was so angry.
At least you didn't buy it and then be like, what is this?
Oh, heck no. Heck no.
You would have thrown it at the bartender.
I knew there was a chance that was going to happen, but I was just hoping I was wrong. But missed opportunity, AMC theaters, because this boy wants a T-Rex skeleton on a glass. Anywho, Kyle, anything else we want to add before we get out of here?
Well, Space Mountain's coming back. Apparently it took its Adderall. It's calmed down. It's no longer going to be hyperspace. It's just Space Mountain. I think July 5th is when that's coming back. So a nice little 2-month run for hyperspace, and we're back to normal programming.
Do you think that's when Darth Vader will also be removed? They didn't give an end date for that, but...
That's such a weird thing.
Anywho, cool. That's going to do it for the news this week. And Kyle, I'll talk to you next time.
All right. Looking forward to it.
To read more about any and all of the stories you've heard here today, simply visit the show notes link in this episode's description. You've heard the news, and now I want to hear what you have to say about it. What do you think of the announced panels for D23 Expo? Is there any one that you're looking most forward to? Share your thoughts on that or any other topics mentioned in today's episode. Call 818-860-2569 and you may just hear yourself on a future episode of Disney Coast to Coast. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. Don't miss any future episodes by subscribing and following Disney with a Z Coast to Coast on your favorite podcast app. This episode has been executive produced by Robert Scontrino. Gain rewards like Robert, including access to never-before-heard episodes and live stream Q&As by visiting the Patreon link in this episode's description. And don't forget that I'll be matching 100% of your first month subscription to the Trevor Project for all new patrons joining this month, June of 2022. Basically, anything you need can be found in this episode's description, from additional information and links discussed in the episode found in the show notes, to the DCTC hotline where you can leave a voicemail and be heard on a future episode, access to the show's official website, some free gifts from me to you, and so much more. So be sure to check out this episode's description. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Disney Coast to Coast is produced and hosted by Jeff DePauli. Learn more about the podcast and become a supporter at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. This podcast is part of the DePodcast Network. Learn more about this show, plus find more quality and entertaining podcasts at DePodcastNetwork.com. That's DEPodcastNetwork.com.